Okay, welcome. This is James Possible, and in today's video I'm going to do something a little bit, well, hugely different. And I've just been, as I shared in the previous video, I've been doing so much, such a deep dive into what's going on financially, globally, locally, what's going on with the COVID virus, the COVID-19 virus, and the shutting down of countries, businesses, and just all those things, and the antics of our politicians and their presentation. So I tend to write quite a bit to get thoughts out of my head, and this has just really been bothering me, so much so that I've been preoccupied with it for quite a while, and it's been distracting. So hopefully this will let me move forward. And one of the things that I have found so distracting is I struggle with how things are phrased or termed within the financial world. How things are shared within articles and quotes and little pearls of wisdom. They, for those who have exposure to that world and have some understanding of the world, it's not too difficult to connect the dots. But for someone who doesn't really have any basis or understanding to connect the dots within some of these really, really profound quotes, they're just not going to fully understand what's happening. And given everything that's going on right now, I really feel like this is a great way to break it down. It is my writing, and in my style I do tend to be a little bit colorful, because I do write with a lot of feeling. And so I don't know how this is going to go. In the picture you see there, that's John Maynard Keynes, and this whole writing is going to be centered around this one quote. And the quote is, "By this means, government may secretly and unobserved confiscate the wealth of the people, and not one man in a million will detect the theft." So as I go through this process, this reading, and I share my thoughts with you, I want you to understand that there is no one within government that doesn't understand what this quote means. That doesn't understand what is actually playing out when it comes to finance, when it comes to monetary policy and fiscal responsibility. Two very different things. And I think the best thing for me to do at this point is just kind of move forward, work through it. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to go through this reading, but I'll do my best to make it clear and quick. I'm sure I'm going to have thoughts as I'm going through the reading, but here it is. And hopefully this means something to somebody. I know it does to me. So I'll begin again with John Maynard Keynes' quote. If you're not familiar with him, anybody that's studied finance will most likely know something about Keynesian philosophy. And so this is him. This is the author of that. And I really don't have time to go into and break that down. But his quote, again, by this means, government may secretly and unobserved confiscate the wealth of the people, and not one man in a million will detect the theft. Not one man, not one citizen in a million will actually detect what is happening and what has been happening. I want to be clear. The Federal Reserve came into existence in 1913. This is not something new. This has been going on for a long time. For many of you, it's been going on, well, for most, your whole lifetime. And it's a tricky thing because it happens without you seeing it or understanding it. You feel it more than you are physically aware of it. So let me translate it. Without a need for legal taxation, a government can rob its people of both their time and savings without ever being discovered. So there is this method, this means of robbing people, of the government robbing people of their wealth, of their money, their spending power, does not require any special legislation. It's built in to our monetary system. And I really want you to understand, it's how it works. That's why it's so hard to understand. This is the power the Federal Reserve holds over a silently enslaved and struggling population. And over time, the struggle only grows. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's because of what the government is doing, and what the Federal Reserve is doing is they are making it more and more difficult just to make ends meet. Even for those who a decade ago had no problems meeting those kind of financial financial obligations. So this is the power the Federal Reserve holds over a silently enslaved and struggling population. And it all happens with the complete understanding and cooperation of the government. Again, there are no secrets here. The government knows this. Like a magician, the government uses distraction, misdirection, and presentation to hide the truth. As a people, our battles are best fought with those who knowingly engage and encourage such a form of government control. Now, I'm speaking to the people right now because so much of our frustration and anger is being misplaced and poorly directed, pointed in a direction that will not serve all of us as a people collectively. As a people, it is to our harm. It harms us that we, with great emotion and little foresight or concern for the outcome, choose to attack others for their difference, bringing to question little more than one's color, religion, culture, political views, and or position. I want you to really think about that. We are a divided nation. We are a divided people. And I'm sure this is true in other countries. And it is not by accident that we are divided. Such conflict between a nation's people only serves to magnify the fear and frustration of the masses, strengthening a government's ability to police and control its people, a people divided by little more than fear and ignorance. Think about it. When I say ignorance, this is something that far more people than not simply don't understand. They're just not aware that the United States, a place of freedom, could literally have a system, a monetary system in place that robs people of their wealth and time. So that's, when I say ignorance, that's what I'm speaking of. Not understanding what is actually happening. The more centralized the media, the more divisive a nation's reporting becomes. We're living in those times right now, as the messages will, by design, serve to benefit the wants and needs of those in power, while at the same time shaping both the thoughts and behavior of the masses. There are people through media channels that are working to manipulate your thoughts and behaviors. And it is your ignorance, your frustration, and your struggle that is giving them the ability to do so. So too, it is through the centralization of a nation's distribution and supply chain that the goods, services, and its manufacturers are then exploited in price, quality, and availability to the benefit of the few and the expense of the many. There are great forces at odds with the masses right now, and they do not want to let control of what they've created. It is the blind eye of a broken government under the extreme financial influence of a centralization that the few are then allowed. It is the blind eye of a broken government under the extreme financial influence of a centralization that the few are then allowed to exist and persist as monopolies. So when I speak of centralization, I'm speaking of monopolies. Have you noticed that these companies seem to get bigger and bigger, and the smaller companies seem to just disappear, right? We're not a nation of many businesses as we once were. We're slowly becoming more and more a nation of a few big companies, monopolies, centralization. So, again, the bigger the monopoly, the greater its control and influence over a nation's resources, labor, and most importantly, its people. So it is not only our monetary policy, it is the government's apathy in response to these companies that have become monopolies. And these monopolies exist in every aspect of life, and to our detriment as a people. So even the most educated of people can be falsely deceived and betrayed by their apparent position, abundance, and illusion of freedom. It's really important. If you think your world is great, it's just a matter of time if you really don't understand what I'm talking about right now. Unless you're the few, the elite, the system is working against you quietly and unknown and in secrecy. After all, only the masters of the monetary supply and its declining value are truly in control. And no matter how great one's wealth, in appearance and position, it will remain effortless, and I do mean effortless, and without a need for provocation or cause, the government can and will strip such wealth of its value, leaving the holder of such wealth with a diminished quality of future life. So again, you may be doing really well right now. No one would argue that. It's the future value of your wealth that's being attacked. And if you don't understand this fully, then you're in trouble, just like anybody else. There is no freedom or free will when a government is allowed to remove the wealth of its people without due process, just cause, or the knowledge of its people, no matter the individual or the position. We have a government right now that has a power that it was never meant to be afforded. It's a power that is robbing generations, not just us, of our time and our wealth. It's robbing generations, future generations, of a life well lived. Yet today, this is the world we live in, a world that teaches you and me that success can only be measured in terms of tomorrow. Think about it. How many things have you looking outside of you? And for today, we will neither have enough, nor will we as individuals ever be enough. How many messages a day do you get that tell you you're not your best self, that you need to be more? Just think about that. Really focus on that. And how can that be true? As the value of a people's time and wealth is ever so deliberately diminished, this is intentional. This is not by accident. It is important to understand it is both in their fear and ignorance as a people that such a nation is able to enslave its masses without cause, conflict, or resistance. Make no mistake, what's going on right now is financially enslaving the masses of people. And it's not just happening in the United States. It's happening globally. Today, we live in a world that has been created by the few, for the few. If given the chance, the freedoms of a nation's people will continue to be minimized without care for the quality of life experienced by its people. Today, you and I are no more than livestock, a source of income for the uncaring, indifferent choices and actions of a few. Let me slide this down a little bit. As you and I come face to face with the COVID-19 virus, and we experience the local and global shutdown of businesses, ask yourself, where is the government's greatest concern, their greatest focus? Where is the government most willing to provide its greatest financial support? Is it the few or the masses? How protected are you financially? How long would you last without a source of income? Because for many, that's what we're talking about right now. That's what we're looking at happening at present. Can you imagine a life dependent on the goodwill of such a government? How much goodwill do you think the government has for you as an individual? How concerned are they for you as an individual and your family? I will end this with a quote from John D. Rockefeller. A very arrogant quote, if I might add. I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. One man, a nation of millions, proclaiming that he does not want a nation of thinkers. He wants a nation of workers. So is that to the benefit of the nation or to the benefit of him and his family? Are you a thinker or are you a worker? Think about it. Did your education teach you to be a thinker, or were you conditioned to be a worker? Or were you conditioned to find a good job, a safe job, a secure job? You may feel as if, get to the end here. You may feel as if, for those who are willing, oh, hang on a second here, I got off track here, I'm sorry. You may feel as if you do not have any options, and yet it's important for you to know there is a way out for those who are willing. And I'm not saying it's easy, I'm just saying there is a way out. There is another path. There is an alternative. Finally, how much longer are you willing to accept a life of financial slavery? Because if you do nothing and you simply accept your life as it is, that's what you're doing. You're accepting financial slavery as the only possibility for your life. I will leave you with one last thought for you to consider. As you go through your day, think about this. They've called it socialism for the masses when we talked about health care and Social Security and those kind of things. In reality, what's happening today is socialism for the elite. Because their focus and their concern is to the companies, the bigger companies, the ones that they're willing to put out trillions of dollars to. They are not concerned about you and I as individuals. So I don't know how that worked, and I hope you enjoyed it or got something out of it. I don't know about enjoy so much. It's a tough topic. It's not an easy topic. It's not a feel-good topic, other than there is a way for you to change your course of action. You can make a different choice. You can begin to take different actions. Your government, no matter where you are globally, has conspired against you. They have worked against you, secretly and unknowingly. They have hidden this from you. Let's put an end to financial slavery. Protect yourself, and protect yourself, your family, your friends, and everyone who doesn't understand this. Share this video. It's a wake-up call. If you want to know more about how you can end financial slavery and protect yourself, your family, your financial future, your quality of life, text the word KEY, K-E-Y, to 405-293-8388. Again, text the word KEY, K-E-Y, to 405-293-8388. Now, I say this with every video now, sometimes I'm not able to text the number back. When I do, I tend to receive the text, but on some of them I just can't respond to them for whatever reason. So if you want to make sure that I can respond to you, include your email address. I promise I'm not going to spam you. I don't have time to do that. I'm like you. I have too many obligations in my life, too many responsibilities, things that I have to take care of. I'm not going to waste my time spamming you. So if you want to make sure that I contact you, just include your email address. My first choice is to send you a text. So again, text the word KEY, K-E-Y, to 405-293-8388. And again, I'm James Possible. Thank you for being here. I know this is way off course from most of the videos I do. I'm hoping that it means something to somebody. I'm hoping that you find value and awareness and a clarity that you may not have had before. So thank you for joining me. You know what to do. I'll talk to you soon.